This is so much fun. So here we are on Blog Talk Radio, and this is the K Factor, where K equals kindness, and the factors are all the things that lead to it. I'm your host, Dr. Deb Carlin, and it's my pleasure to introduce my lovely guest every Tuesday for Talks with Tessa. And Tessa Greenspan is indeed my co-host. Good morning, Tessa. How are you today?
I am absolutely wonderful.
You are.
Good day. I'm so grateful. Yes, I am.
That's the only way to be. Otherwise, you suffer at your own hand, at your own mind. Well,
True.
here's our thoughts for the day, friends, all in our listening audience. The way in which you live your life is so essential. You know, your daily habits, your thoughts, your feelings. And we're now into the season of autumn. In October, according to us, is a perfect time for settling in and making plans. You know, as the colors outside are turning, our mind and our energy shift as well. The question is, how will you best manage yourself to your ultimate benefit? So, what Tess and I intend to do today in our conversation is for ourselves, for one another, and for you, discover the beauty of what is possible for your authentic well being as we talk about our experiences and successes. And in my opinion, it's going to be awesome because we're going to be getting sage wisdom from my wise friend here. I'll be chiming in a bit like I usually do. So, October, I can't believe it is October. I keep thinking that it's still going to be another warm day of August.
Well, October is, but first, let's say that every single month and every single day has something magical
Yeah.
and something wonderful to look at it. So, really, it's all on how you look at every single thing.
Yeah.
You know, October is cooler. The pumpkins, the fire, some people roast chestnuts and different things. And so it's really always what you look at and what you look forward to. So we can think, oh, it's cold or whatever, but then that is not helping us, period. What we can do though is think about what are the joys? What can we do in October that will propel us into November, December, January, February, March, April, and then into spring? So my thoughts are it's so important to sort of burrow in, um, make the pies, have the hot cider.
Make the pies.
I'll have somebody else do it.
Enjoy the pies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's so funny.
So it's really though time for coming together with families, whether it be on Zoom
And friends who are family.
or grateful for. This is probably, and yes, and friends who are family. And it is so important to every single day think about the things.
Yeah.
You know, I just post, by the way, I post positive messages on Facebook every day. If anybody wants to follow me, it's Tessa Greenspan. So it's really, if you just say thank you 3 times or thank you all day long, you will see that your day has been much better. It's really, again, all that we focus on, what we think about, and what we say to ourselves, what we do not allow to come in. And I would say, I would turn the news off because this is just going over and over ugly things you don't want in your mind.
Repetitive. Make the repetitions positive is what we say.
Exactly. When and thank you. And then look for things that you have to be thankful for.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many things that we have that many people in third world countries do not have, like fresh water.
Even in this country. You don't have to leave the United States of America. Where you
which
grew up,
is
you didn't have
very
what you have in St. Louis.
well. When I grew up, we didn't even have an inside toilet. So,
There you go.
yes.
Thus the
Uh-huh.
title to the book,
So there,
over your right shoulder there, from the
yeah,
outhouse to the penthouse. It's for
yeah,
real. It's not a
yeah.
metaphor.
It that is real. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And that book is available on. And it's true. It really isn't where you came from, is what your decisions and your choices are about life and what you want out of life. There is nothing, my opinion, there's nothing that skills that you cannot do. So it's really important to think about what we have to be thankful and grateful for. And again, backing up to this time of the year, what can you be thankful for? You know, that we can see the beauty of the changing leaves. There's so many things. I would suggest that you go out and take a walk. Deep, breathe deeply the cool air
Oh yeah.
into the parks and the woods and just acknowledge and see the beauty. And it's also a time for preparing for the winter, for the holidays, and for the coming year.
Well,
We've
here's
had a
let me back it up a little bit. So if we
Mhm.
just take right now, like I put on one of my favorite autumn sweaters, orange, between the two of us, not that leaves turn pink, but the red leaves, like burning bush, turn kind of pink before they're getting really red.
Yes.
I
Mhm.
actually, over the last several days, have been on my walk seeing the trees, and I'm going like this because I have windows out here. Not that anybody can see my windows. And those who are listening to us on Blog Talk Radio can't see me wishing my hands around here. But the beauty, you're absolutely right. So I'm not even thinking to January. I'm not even thinking to December. I'm thinking September, really. You and I celebrated the transition on the 22nd of the winter solstice as we entered into, but that wasn't winter solstice. December 21st is winter solstice. The first day of autumn was September 22nd. And so we started talking about that transition. It's nice from hot into warm, that golden color changes. And I'm seeing that the a lot of the leaves are still green, and I'm north of you a few hours, but a lot of the leaves are still green. But oh my gosh, the colors, and especially
Yes.
the tops of the trees where the sun is hitting them, are gorgeous, golden and orange and red and some browns. And I'm thinking, I was at the grocery and I thought it's time to get pumpkins and time to carve them. It's time to get pumpkins and make the pumpkin seeds and take the pumpkins apart, get pie pumpkins, and either make pies or make breads or make both. Oh my gosh, pumpkin soup. I love pumpkin soup. Add a
Yes,
scoop
I
or
do
two
too.
of nut butter to it, and it's
Yes,
absolutely exquisite, isn't it?
yes, it is. So
And
that's making me hungry.
oh, it is. Well, you know what?
Yes, I love.
And then the other thing is all the meals, really, particularly bird meals, turkey and quail and pheasant and duck and goose. Oh, I love to eat them. I love to prepare them. Having people over, lighting a fire in the house, in a fireplace appropriately, or even lighting
Mhm.
candles and feeling the warmth of it. And yes, burrowing in and settling in and making plans. And you know what? I think if we start here in October with this transition in anticipation and saying thank you, we're all going to have the most delicious Thanksgiving because we will have accumulated our basket of thanks even in mid 2020, won't we?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Even though there are some things that are really challenging right now,
Yes, very
and
challenging.
the thing of it is, though, is what we focus on expands. We can focus on all of the ills or whatever, but focus on, again, what we have to be thankful and grateful for. Think about our family and the friends that we have, that we still have so much in spite of all of the things that are going on. So it's really important to again say thank you. If you just said thank you all day long, you at the end of the day, you would have had one of the best days of your life. I promise you, I challenge
I'm already there. I've taken the challenge and I've been doing it. When I start to feel a little bit bummy, I start saying, thank you. Thank you for this. Because if I'm sitting in this bummedness, I'm sitting in the contrast of the happiness that I've known. I don't like the distance. So I'm going to walk the steps back into my happiness. And I know how that happens. It comes from first saying thank you. Because it's interesting, Tessa. I took a drive with a friend of mine the other day, and they were in my car and they were just lamenting and lamenting and lamenting. And then they were lamenting, just complaining. I don't like the end of summer. Summer's my favorite season. I want to be in Florida. I don't like it here. Look at everything is dying. I said, hold on, hold on. Are you not seeing these colors? And I rolled down the windows. I had seat heaters on, and I said, are you not seeing the colors? Are you not getting that beautiful, fresh air? We're unmasked in the car. We know one another. We know that we're safe. Neither one of us is sick or frail. And we're driving. Look at what this is. Look at how people in the neighborhood have got beautiful autumn wreaths on their doors, and pumpkins and mums set out. And look at all of this. She looked at me and she got tears in her eyes and she said, "You're right. How come I don't see it?" And I said, "I'm inviting you. I'm inviting
you.
you. Just come on, do
Yeah.
it." And look at, we got on groovy sweaters. You know, people need to really be invited in. They just say no when we want them to say yes and thank you.
Well, and I think, and you're absolutely right. It's really reminding people in many ways,
Yeah.
uh, suggesting, have you ever thought about this? You know, what you have to be thankful and grateful for? Just mentioning that kind of thing. Now, I can tell you that there are people who really like to be in their misery and they would like for you to join them. Well, I personally refuse.
I do
You
too.
know, I'm not going to go down your rabbit hole because it's not good for my psychic, first of all. And I'm not going to sit and listen to all of this too. And by the way, your friend said everything is dying. That is not true. Everything is burrowing in for a magnificent.
Rebirth.
It's pausing. Yes, I think pausing is a good. They are replenishing in a sense. We can say
Yes,
we are replenishing our soul. It's replenishing the nutrients and everything else, going dormant for massive, beautiful explosion of color.
absolutely. And I love it because the shorter hours of daylight, I'm sleeping just a little bit longer. I get a little bit sleepier earlier, and I wake up just a little bit later. Instead of getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I might get up at 5, and on the weekends I'm sleeping in until about 6:30. That's kind of unusual for me because I love to get up. I love to see the sunrise. The other night, oh my gosh, it was really dark out, and I walked to the other side of my home and I see the moon up in the sky. I actually posted it on Facebook,
Mhm.
glimmering onto the water, and it just illuminated everything. And I thought, you know, the sky is different every season, and
That's true.
there is something to embrace. Now, it occurs to me, Tessa, a lot of people will be listening to us talking and saying, "Oh, for gosh sakes, listen to those women chattering on and on about this. What's the big deal? How frivolous? Don't they know what else is going on in the world?" You know what? The most romantic love songs, theater productions, books, poems have been written by men who dialed into their hearts and sang about all the things that we're talking about, right? And Louis Armstrong, you and I both have our favorite song is What a Wonderful
Yeah,
World.
a wonderful world. Mhm.
And it's kind of sad, although you and I are so determined, we go against the grain, we invite people into where they're resistant. And like, don't tell me how nice it is. I got to tell you how awful it is. All right, well, I'll go first. Let me tell you how great it is. And it bursts their bubble of icky, which is what I think you and I want to do all the time. You cannot be well if you have your attitude dragging you down.
Yeah, it's the absolute truth. Your mind and your mindset, your attitude makes all the difference in the world in your health, in your mental health, in every area of your body. It really makes a difference. And I want to go back to what you just said, and that is that people think, oh, these women or whatever. Well, I can tell you, it doesn't mean that we have not had major challenges that most people could not even endure.
Right.
It again is how you look at it and how you're going to choose to do something different. It doesn't mean that our life is perfect.
No,
I, though, can say that every single day I and set my day up for how I want my day, not letting things just come to me. I'm setting my day up. I'm going to choose joy.
yeah.
Actually, that's one of the songs that I play. I choose joy. No one could ever get me down. I choose joy.
I love that. Tessa, on that same note, it is an absolute truth between the two of us that one of the reasons that we are the way that we are is that we have gone through tremendous anguish and loss and despair, illnesses and loss of loved ones and really tragedies that if we created a movie of our lives and intertwined it and and allowed ourselves to share the story, I think it would be really dynamic because it would be, it's like the book A Tale of Two Cities, a tale of two lives that intersect, and you look and you're drawn to one another and you hear and you see and you feel happiness, and then you get to know another human being for real and you realize, hey, wait a minute, life is a bed of roses, but there's thorns there, and you're
Oh, there
also
is.
laying on the ground. So you
Mhm.
better feel the softness of the petals. You better feel the and smell the aroma that's so lovely, because there's other things that you just have to deal with.
This is true. I'm going to say something that was really important that my attorney said to me when my partners handed me the keys to declare bankruptcy. He said to me, it is only money. You have your health, you have your family, you are smart, you can make really a great message to most people. It's really what you have. If you have done something before, you can do
Do it again.
it again. If you've been successful, you can do it again. So it's really, and it will be easier the next time because you've done it. It's sort of, you rewired your brain for that success. And backing up also to this time and these challenges, there are people who have a lot more challenges than we do. The thing of it is, you can always find things to be thankful for. Maybe you have children or small children. Be grateful that that child is in great health, that you have a great future or that you can teach this child. Also, you have your family, hopefully you have food. And if not, there are food pantries. So there, I am saying, and I have been through the extreme poverty that most people, when there was no food, that most people could not even conceive of. This did not make me and solutions to overcome every single thing that has came about.
You know,
That's sort of a
I remember so many different parts of my life where there was things that were um, coming at me, and I was having to figure out how is it that I deal with this. And what I knew, what I knew was if I averted my attention, I would forever have regret. I'm gonna tell you one little short episode. I had a dog that I dearly loved. I was in graduate school at the time, and I was working on my doctoral work to become a doctor of psychology. And I decided that it was important for me to go through different therapeutic processes so that I understood. And so I was in a psychoanalytic process, which is a real deep dive into the unconscious. And while I was in the throes of that, I went out for a walk with my dog, who was about 11 years old at the time, beautiful Rhodesian Ridgeback. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, quiet neighborhood. I let her off leash. She saw a squirrel across the street. She got hit by a car. She tumbled under the car before my very eyes. I let out a blood curdling scream. I ran to her. The car slammed on his brakes. He was devastated. I held her in my arms. I laid in the middle of the street. I laid in the middle of the street, held her in my arms, sobbing because it was my fault. And he came over and he said, "What can I do?" And I wouldn't look up. I grabbed his ankle and I said, "Call 911." I didn't even think about this being a dog. This was my baby. And I laid there with her, and police came, and they had I don't know, an ambulance or a paddy wagon or whatever it was. I think it really was an ambulance. And they said, "What can we do?" And I said, "You got to save her." And the police officer picked me up, and the ambulance guys came and took her. And they said, "Where do you want us to take her?" I said, "Take her to my veterinarian, Dr. Larry Millis." And I told him where he was. He was just minutes away. And they said, "Okay." But as he picked me up, the police officer, he held me in his arms. And I turned my back and I did not see them pick her up and take her away. And I looked up, and all these neighbors were sitting outside on their front stoop because they heard my screams and saw the lights. And they were all out there. And I looked and they were crying. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood knew one another. And I thought, I did not see my dog get picked up and taken away safely. When I went into my therapist that day, my psychoanalyst, I told him about that. And he said, "What if you could have turned around? What if you would have turned around?" I said, "I would have been facing the inevitable. I would have been, I would have had a visual and visceral response to it that's different than what I cut myself off from." And he said, "Right." And every time you do that, it takes you longer to go through that process of grieving and acceptance. So don't ever avoid, allow yourself a moment, but walk back into it. And, I've carried that with me. And it is dynamic, and it is exactly what you and I are talking about. If you're having a rough start to your day, instead of making the proclamation to everybody that is the negative, and I don't even imitate the words because I don't want to fire those neurons because we hear what we say. Work your way through it inside of your head and your soul. You do. I know you do every single day. And when someone asks you how you are, be authentic and be what you want to be.
That's right. Uh-huh. That's right. There's something really good about that story. Several things. One, uh, how we can have a deep love for our animals, which are our family.
Yeah.
And two, that this policeman hugged you, which was so refreshing. So we can have a difference even in tragedy. We can have by a hug, by an understanding of knowing that this is really a tragedy in your life. Don't don't say, it's only a dog. Never, ever, because that is your family. It is your family. I know I had a dog that I absolutely loved. I told you I traded a box of tomatoes for him when he was just a puppy. Best dog ever, though. I mean, he was a free spirit and just was a joy. So it's really, there are many things to learn. And if we look at circumstances, what can we find that's good in that circumstance? No matter how hard that circumstance is, we can find something that really was helpful or good in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. You
You know,
know, your mother was
was
what?
my mother was a great example of finding the good in everything. It was looking for the solutions, no matter what happened, never feeling sorry for yourself. And she had a lot that she could feel sorry for herself, but it's really never feeling sorry for herself, always finding a solution, no matter what, no matter that your leg has been amputated,
Yeah,
no matter we think about and what we look for in every situation and look for the solutions when we have challenges.
absolutely spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Tessa, there's a world of people out here who are waiting for what we deliver.
Yes, I think so too.
There, do you know the latest numbers that I pulled up for one of my other shows was the rate of suicide since the beginning of 2020, 132 people a day. Now we were freaking out when it was 11 veterans, and then that climbed, that doubled to 22 veterans a day taking their lives. We need to interrupt the cycle of despair, and that is what we are here to do.
That's true.
Maybe
That's
we ought
true.
to rebrand the show and call Interrupt the Cycle of Despair.
So you have been freezing every few seconds,
You
Deb.
have to. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So, but the truth of the matter is we can make a difference. And it's really working on yourself every single day. It's rewiring your brain. What you put in your brain, make it a point to change. Put positive things in your mind. Surround yourself with positive people. Turn off the TV. Get rid of the news. Do not go over and over and over in the debates of what this one against this one or whatever. It's so important for you to keep your and maintain your
Yes,
positivity.
exactly. Well, on that note, we've reached the end of yet another show, which is amazing. It flies by. And friends, I
Yes.
hope that you've had a marvelous time with us. This is your host, Dr. Deb Carlin, with my wonderful, fabulous friend, Tessa Greenspan. We hope that you are now ready to snuggle in and come back next week, and we'll uplift you yet again. From both of us, this is your co hosts, Deb and Tessa.